Dallas Cowboys wide receiver Dez Bryant has fixed his mouth to say that black people are the reason, the exclusive reason that they're not successful. And it has nothing to do with a certain sector of people or systemic racism. Has nothing to do with that. Like, black people and black people alone are responsible. His larger point is essentially saying that success is built on individual accountability, the season of opportunity, and creating one's reality instead of fighting the realities that exist. That's his thing. So, let me see. So, okay, let me get this straight. So I'm responsible for my schools being underfunded. I'm responsible for that. I'm responsible for policemen having a culture of abusing people in my community. I'm responsible for that. I'm responsible for a certain clique of people getting together, lobbying to create a system of where they have a pipeline from schools to prisons for me and my unborns. I'm responsible for a culture of executives who refuse to hire black CEOs, even if they're more qualified than their counterparts. I'm responsible. See, it sounds like somebody then took a key and turned it in his back and said, "Nah, go Sambo, go Sambo." See, because he came out of nowhere with this tweet. I mean, this Instagram post. He came out of nowhere with it. Something was going on. I don't know if it's a PR stunt for him it's a preemptive PR stunt where he's trying to get some money on some endorsements. I don't know if he, got him a white girl and he trying to impress the white family. I don't know if he has a certain group of friends he's trying to impress or what it is. But let me tell you this. I would never, ever throw my people under the bus to be accepted by anybody. If I decided I wanted to date somebody of a different ethnicity, if I wanted to be friends with somebody of a different ethnicity, I wanted to do business, they gonna have to accept me for who I am. And if you can't accept me for exactly who I am, man, you can go to hell. And you can take whatever kind of money you got and friendship or whatever orphans you got, you can take that and go to hell. If you are a friend of mine, you consider yourself a friend of mine and you are of a different ethnicity or a business associate or whatever it is, and you can't accept the fact that I'm standing up and I fight for the rights of my people who getting dogged out every fucking day, and you see that, you know what's going on. See, most people will admit that it's going on, and they don't have a problem with it. But it's others that's got a problem. It's like, ooh, just why you have to make everything about race? Because we're in America, and everything in America is about race. That's just what it is, man. I know you don't like to talk about it. It's uncomfortable for you, but that's just the way it is. I don't even like talking about it. Hell, it's uncomfortable to me. It's uncomfortable for me. I don't want to talk about this shit, man, but I'm gonna speak on it, because if I don't speak on it, who will? I'm going to speak on it. You're not going to silence me. You're not going to scare me into submission. I'm not going to be silent so you can be comfortable. That's just what it is. So this is what Dez Bryant had to say on Instagram. First and foremost, I would like to say I do a great job of minding my own business, but it's pressing on my heart to share my thoughts about white Americans and black Americans. I saw a person quote Charles Barkley when he said, "We as black people, we're never going to be successful, not because of white people, but because of other black people." I hate to admit it, but I understand that quote. I've been racially profiled on numerous occasions, but not once has it influenced an ill feeling inside of me about anyone outside of that issue. Real slavery is different from what's going on in our world today. We all, every ethnicity, have the opportunity to lead by example. Instead of making videos about the history of racism that get applause or people with influence merely doing things to post for social media, we should focus on individual accountability to be better as a whole. I recently ran into a guy I grew up with who spent his adulthood dealing drugs while we were catching up. He shared with me that he wished that he had chose a different path. He said seeing my success was inspiring and that it encouraged him to do better with his life. Real question, what is wrong with being sophisticated and black? Why do we associate those who choose the straight and narrow as being black enough? Why was it that I was one of the first examples of success to my friend? We focus hard on fighting the realities that exist instead of creating our own reality. Whew. The ones who came for us, he wanted to say the ones who came before us, but he said the ones who came for us, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, paved a new path for us to follow. The struggles and hurt they endured created new life for us today. And he said a whole bunch of other things, but that is the heart of what he was saying. Let me break something down for y'all right quick. Never, ever in your life, ever did you quote Charles Barkley when it comes to racism. He knows absolutely nothing about racism. He ain't got no damn idea of what he's talking about when it comes to racism. That's all he does is regurgitate white supremacist talking points. That's all he does, all right? Charles Barkley is a damn sellout. It's been established. It's been documented. It is in the Library of Congress. You'll see a picture of his face right next to a coon, all right? Now, he said he's been racially profiled before, and not once has he have an ill feeling inside of him about anyone outside of that issue. Okay, I get that part, but why don't you have an ill feeling about being racially profiled in general? Why don't you have an ill feeling about the system that allows cops to think it's okay to profile and get away with it, that allows them to get away with racially profiling time and time again with impunity? Why don't you have a problem with that, Dez? Dez Bryant, he also said, instead of making videos about the history of racism that get applause or people with influence merely doing things to post for social media, we should focus on individual accountability to better as a whole. Now, isn't that the pot calling the kettle black? Isn't what he's accusing people of doing, bringing attention to racism and calling that racism out, isn't he doing the exact same thing for likes and views? Because that's what's happening right now. If you go to his page, he's getting a whole lot of likes and tweets and all kind of stuff, reposts and all kind of stuff. So he's doing the exact same thing that he's trying to accuse other black people of doing. Typical trademark of a hypocrite. Now, he say he grew up and, you know, he ran into a buddy of his in the hood and who said that, you know, hey, you know, I could have done better. I'm proud of you. I probably could have done better for myself. And he wondered why he was the first example of success for his buddy from the hood. I don't know, man. Maybe for the same reason we list all these other issues that's going on with systemic racism. education, lack of jobs, you know, police, the lack of effective police community relations. Man, you name it. You name it. It's thrown in our hood. And let's not forget, these drugs that your buddy was selling, let's not forget who put the drugs in the neighborhood in the first place. And let's not forget who profited most off of this so-called war on drugs. On the contrary, blacks did not profit more off of the drug war, or the so-called drug war, or even drugs. You know who profited? The American government. That's who profited the most off of drugs, and still do. That's who profit off the so-called drug war. Don't ever get that twisted. That's why they don't want it to end. They're not trying to get rid of drugs, okay? They want the drugs to come into play. They love it. They love it when we sell dope, okay? Don't get that twisted. He also said, what is wrong with being sophisticated and black? Oh, this is a good one. See, the coons love to call this one right here. He says, why do we associate those who choose the straight and narrow as not being black enough? What damn idiot do you know who associate being straight and narrow with not being black enough? I just don't know what kind of people Dez Bryant and Charles Barkley, what kind of people, black people, they hang around. Because I don't know black people like that. Oh, the black people that I know, they get excited when they see one of their own come up. Because they look at it as an indication that, hey, man, if he can do it, I can do it. Man, I'm proud of you. What they don't like is when you come up and you start getting fly like you doing, Dez, when you come from the gutter and start acting like you ain't been there. Start acting like you special. Start trying to distance yourself and then looking down and talking down and being condescending. See, that's what the people don't like. Now you, with your clown arrogant ass, you interpret it as, oh, they don't like me because I'm sophisticated. They don't like me because I'm choosing the straight and narrow. Man, come on, dude. That's a big old FOH for you. Come on, Dez. I thought you was a little smarter than that. I mean, you did go to college, didn't you? Now, I'm going to break this down for you. So he said, we focus hard on fighting realities that exist instead of creating our own reality. Man, reality is reality. What the hell you mean creating your own reality? The reality is I'm in this damn room right here, right now, sitting in this chair, recording a damn video. People are logged on from wherever they're from, whatever device they're from, their laptop, their iPad, their Android, the phone, whatever the hell device they're using, but they're logged on Facebook right now, or they're logged on to YouTube, and they're watching me. That's a reality. Now, what kind of damn reality you want me to be? You want me to just act like I'm not here? Close my eyes real tight and act like I'm not here? You want me to close my eyes and act like racism don't exist? You want me to close my eyes and act like I don't worry about when I drive down the street and I get pulled over by a white cop that I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I hope this ain't the one that's going to try to take me out because he don't like black people? But that's not a reality. That's not a reality. That's not reality. When we talk about going into a damn store and probably having more money than anybody in the damn store that's working in the store, but we getting followed around like we trying to steal something automatically because we black, don't matter how you're dressed. It don't even matter. They see the skin and then they come after you. They get paranoid. Even at Versace, well, all these black people love going in and giving their money to. They got a black code, man. Do you understand that, Dez Bryant? See, sometimes when people get money, it make them lose a sense of reality. It make them actually think They can create a reality. You know, hey man, I love the hell out of Michael Jackson music, but Michael Jackson tried to create a Neverland. He actually tried to create his own world. Hey man, the world is the world. The world you live in is the world you live in. All of that other shit is fake you talking about. It's fake. You dig? You sound like Donald Trump. Now, this is what Shannon Sharpe had to say about Dez Bryant. Shannon Sharpe lit his ass up. Man, y'all make sure y'all support Shannon Sharpe. And make sure anytime these coons or coon lovers come out to Shannon, y'all make sure y'all support Shannon and y'all back Shannon up. Don't just back him up at your house. You know, back him up in public, back him up online, go in real hard on the trolls. Don't let them make it. Go in, find out who their daughters are, their sons are, their mama, their wives, where they live at, man, hound their ass, ride them hard, man. Because Shannon Sharpe going in hard for y'all. Don't let that man be out there fighting all by himself. This is what Shannon Sharpe had to say. I came from a very different, he's talking to Dez Bryant. I came from a very difficult background also. I think a lot of people know my history. My grandmother raised her 9 kids and raised my mom's 3. And I thought a lot of the same lines earlier in my career that Dez is thinking. Earlier in my career. See, keep in mind, y'all, he ain't number 28. He said, I made it out. Why can't you? And then one day while sitting alone, I started thinking, what about the person that didn't have Mary Porter as a grandmother? What about the person that didn't have grandparents? I think Dez's heart was in a good place, but because he hasn't read up enough on the race relationship and the history of racism in America, he came out totally wrong. Dez, when you say personal accountability, okay, so I'm supposed to hold me accountable for slavery? What about Reconstruction? What about Jim Crow? What about segregation? What about the violation of my civil rights and my voting rights? So who do I hold accountable for that? Dez, I can't get ahead if someone is constantly keeping me behind. Dez, you're not even the 2%. You're the 0.01% of Black Americans that makes millions. But there's so many that don't. Dez, do you realize that you're still Black? They still view you as Black even though you catch touchdowns for the Dallas Cowboys. Do you realize that? You think they view you differently. They applaud what you do, Dez. They don't applaud who you are. My man, Shannon. They applaud what you do. Lil Wayne, they don't applaud who you are. They applaud what you do. Floyd, they don't applaud who you are. This is what we're trying to tell you. Now, since what's his name? Since Dez, you know, he wants to talk about Black people taking accountability, and he want to put all this on Black people. He wants to put everything. Don't get me wrong. I believe in self-accountability, but I can be self-accountable. I can have self-accountability and still have somebody on my back fucking with me, trying to deny me. And if that's happening, I got a right to speak on it, right? Because that's what conservatives do all day long. Anything they do, even if they way ahead of the game, but if they lose a fraction of an inch, they start bitching. They not gonna let it down, but they love to talk about how Black people crying, and then you got certain Black people out there hear that and they want to be so loved and so understood and so accepted that they just jump on that same little old wave and start saying the same thing. We got a president who campaigned on a national stop and frisk, and an attorney general who says that he wants to bring back the war on drugs. That's reality, Dez. That's your reality. That's the reality we're living in. You got a president who campaigned on the stop and frisk, a national stop and frisk. First of all, in New York City alone, the people said stop and frisk was a disaster. It disproportionately singled out black people. Disproportionately violated black people. So other people that it didn't affect in certain other areas of towns and certain communities, they felt good about it because they wasn't being violated. They were cool with it. You think that's the reality that we're living in. This is not make-believe, partner. This is the reality that we're living in. So since you want to talk about drugs, well, let's talk about drugs, Brian. Didn't your mama do crack? Wasn't your mama selling crack? Didn't she get popped for crack? How about that, Dez? That didn't have no bearings on whether how successful your mama was? How successful is your mama? Okay, you got it, you made it. What about your mama? What circumstances led to your mama being what she is, in the position she was in when she had you at 15 years old? Let's talk about that, Dez. See, if you wouldn't have made it, you wouldn't have got to that money, who knows where your family would be right now, where much of your family would be at right now, if you wouldn't have got to the money. You're talking about self-accountability. Okay. 2011, Dez, let's go to that. When you were sued for using some credit cards. You got some jewelry on credit and didn't pay for it. You know, that was illegal. It was illegal. And you had to settle for $400,000-$500,000 or you would have went to prison. Remember that? Now, if you hadn't had that money, we're talking about self-accountability. Let's keep it real. Now, I ain't talking about, see, we all make mistakes. Hell, I've made mistakes myself. Hell, I've been to prison myself. I've made mistakes. That ain't no big deal. We people make mistakes, but they move on. The problem is when people try to act like they ain't never made no mistakes. When people start trying to act like they perfect. When they get a little up and they try to look down. See, that's the problem, Dez. See, that's where you at right now. See, if you wouldn't have had that NFL contract, your ass might still be in prison today. You see? So when you talk about self-accountability and you making it, you know, how far would you have gotten if you didn't have those football skills and that football contract? How far would you have gotten? I don't think you'd have got far at all. You would have been just like many other people that you talk about, a victim of circumstances. Pavlov from back in the Gap, who was a philosopher, the great philosopher, Pavlov, he said that people are who they are by process of conditioning. Do you understand that the government, this government, has programmed black people from the day that they step foot in this country? Do you understand that? People who are who they are by process of conditioning. If I grow up in a household where education is stressed, then quite naturally, and I have loving parents, and we have an opportunity where they have some financial stability, and I grow up in a household where education is stressed, then quite naturally, I'm gonna go on to do great things academically. But if I'm in a situation where I'm just scratching and fighting to survive, and the number one priority is to pay the rent, is to just get by, then nobody's gonna bat an eye if I drop out in the 5th grade. But you don't understand that, apparently, even though you come from the gutter, you come from the hood, but you don't understand that somehow. So I come from the gutter. Shannon come from the gutter. A number of others come from the gutter. We get it. But somehow it escapes you. Could it be that Cashing that white check got you blind, man, that you became a slave because you want that check that bad? Could that be why you felt the urge to put that out there like that? To try to throw the whole black community under the bus so you can appease somebody else? Was that your thoughts? Let's talk about when you got sued. Shannon? Let's talk about when you got sued, Dez. Remember when you damaged the house? That was just last year. When you damaged the house in DeSoto, Texas. Remember that? That was just last year. You talking about self-accountability like you've been straight for a minute. Come on, man. Real talk. And here's the kicker right here. You talking all that shit, but you got arrested for beating on your mama. See, that right there, man, that is the ultimate crumb dog nigga. Man, you get no respect for me hitting on your mama, dog. How you gonna get man, who wants something like that on their record? It's a lot of stuff to have on your record. It's a lot of stuff to be ashamed of to have on your record. But thank God I ain't never had something like that on my record. What kind of man put his hands on his own mama? And you walking around here like you proud, you like you really made it? Man, just because you successful, just because you got money don't mean you're successful. Understand that, dude. Just because you got money don't make you successful. See, you got it twisted, partner. Something wrong with you up here. You think you done made it because you catching footballs for a living. Because you play for the Cowboys, you go into that stadium. Get caught out of pocket and watch what happened to your ass. Talking about Dr. Martin Luther King and trying to inject Rosa Parks and trying to inject Malcolm X into your discussion about self-accountability. You know the thing about those people? All of those iconic people were accomplished. But they had enough sense to know that everybody was not going to have the same opportunities they had, and everybody wasn't going to be able to overcome the pressures, the daily systemic racist pressures of living in America. They knew everybody didn't have the same fortitude that they had. So they reached back and they tried to help the ones who couldn't help themselves. See, that's what you do as a human being. That's what you do. You don't just say, well, I made it, why can't you? That's a fool's way of thinking. That's a selfish person who thinks like that. Only a selfish fool and idiot would fix their mouths to say something like that. You don't know what a person been through. You just talking about what you've been through. Yeah, you've been through a lot, I give you that. But if you couldn't catch that damn football, you know for a fact your ass would be in jail right now doing a whole bunch of time on that jewelry case. You know that for a fact. You know for a fact if you wasn't Dez Bryant when you put your hands on your mama, them laws would have dusted your ass off and have you thrown under the jailhouse. Because the police don't give a damn about your mama or you. All they see is a black man. Understand that, dude. You tripping, trying to use Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, and Martin Luther King to substantiate your argument. Yeah, and I bet you wrote that tweet thinking, yeah. I bet you was up there like, writing that little Instagram post like, yeah, I got him now. I'm going to hit him with this real hard. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. Yeah. Sit your ass down, Dez. Sit your ass down somewhere and write a book, man. Go write a book. I'm gonna do you just like, don't read a book, write a book. I'm gonna do your ass just like they used to do in school back in the day. You know I used to write, I will not, X amount of times on the chalkboard. I'm make your ass go write a book about racism. And now you're going to be forced to go really learn about racism, learn the history of racism, and learn how systemic racism works in America. Then you can speak on racism. Then you can speak on racism. When you say the things that you said, dude, trying to tell black people to take responsibility and act like systemic racism don't exist, you basically trying to say that what you basically do is you encourage systemic racism by making the practitioners of racism think that it's cool. You make them feel comfortable about what they're doing. That is what you do when you open your mouth and say something that's stupid and idiotic. Man, next time you know what? You need to get somebody else to run your account because you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Yeah, I bet you really thought you was doing something fly. I bet you really thought you was being intelligent. You sound like a damn fool. That's what you sound like. No more talk.